In this episode of NCCI's Insights Video Edition, we highlight some of our 2019 coverage. Check out some of the topics we brought you this year.
Longer hospital wait times and more people covered by insurance due to the Affordable Care Act. Have these factors made it harder for workers' comp claimants to receive medical care? In workers' comp waiting game, monitoring the time from injury to treatment, NCCI seeks to answer these questions and more.
There was a big increase in the number of people with health care insurance. We were concerned that this influx of new patients into the medical system might adversely affect workers' comp claimants' ability to seek timely medical care. In fact, we'd seen reports that in general health care, that wait time to see a new doctor had increased 30% from 2014 to 2017. Both before and after the ACA, most work comp claimants are seen by a medical professional either on the day of injury or the day after injury. In fact, the average time to see a medical professional peaked in 2013, which is before the main provisions of the ACA took effect, and it's been declining since then.
The shape of the workplace is changing. NCCI explored the relationship between age, gender, sector, and workers' comp claim frequency over the last decade in changing workforce demographics and workplace injury frequency. We spoke with NCCI economist Patrick Coate to learn more. Let's talk about the way in which the workforce is changing overall. What's shifting out there?
There have been a few important changes in workforce demographics recently. The most important is the aging of the workforce. The share of workers 55 and older has risen by a third. There also has been a slight increase in the female share of employment, and we've had a long-term shift into service sector employment from goods producing. At the same time, work injury frequency has declined almost a third since 2006. So the focus of this paper is to look at how changes in frequency and changes in demographics may interact.
And younger workers are getting injured less often than their older peers. Does this paper look into why that might be? Is it, for example, a shift in the type of work that's being done by that generation, or is there something else happening?
Right, that's a really important trend, that this is something that's flipped in the last 10 years. That for a long time, older workers had lower injury frequency. So we looked into several reasons why this may be, and it's hard to pin down on one explanation. So the sector mix for younger and older workers is pretty similar. Also, in terms of the types of injuries suffered by younger and older workers, there's a little bit of a different distribution, but actually younger workers are suffering fewer injuries of every type rather than it being driven by a difference in types. So this is something that isn't obviously due to a difference in types of work being done, but is rather something seen across the board, across different types of work and different types of injuries.
What effect does workforce aging have on frequency?
So one of the interesting findings is that we found very little of overall frequency decline can be explained by workforce aging, is that in part because of this shift to fewer injuries for younger workers, and in part because the decline in frequency sort of happens faster than demographic change, as we found that aging explains very little of the frequency decline we've seen in the last 10 years.
Patrick, this was a fascinating paper on a relevant topic. Thanks so much for joining us to talk about it today.
Thank you.
According to statistics, nearly a third of U.S. jobs require some driving. And when it comes to automation, it's possible that in the future, autonomous or self-driving vehicles may partially or completely automate some of these jobs. The results could impact a substantial portion of the workforce and, consequently, the workers' compensation system. In Breaking New Ground, we evaluate the status of self-driving vehicles and how they could affect workers' comp.
Currently, more than 300 NCCI class codes contain drivers in their description. So there are a lot of different business operations across different industries that could be impacted by autonomous vehicles. So one example is traveling salespeople or on-the-job drivers. their productivity could be increased because time previously spent driving, that could be freed up for more productive tasks. Driving-related classifications or business operations account for 1/4 of all workers' compensation exposure and about half of all workers' compensation premium. So there's a large segment of the workforce and the workers' compensation system that stand to be impacted by autonomous vehicles. Autonomous vehicles also have the potential to impact motor vehicle accident frequency. And this is really significant to workers' compensation in particular because motor vehicle accident frequency has actually been increasing in recent years, which is a departure to overall claim frequency, which has been decreasing. Research presented at NCCI's annual issue symposium on workers' compensation game changers showed that a 25% reduction in the number of claims related to motor vehicle accidents could result in a system savings of $1 billion. And if you believe further reductions are possible beyond the 25%, well, the savings would only increase from there.
Be sure to find these stories and more at ncci.com/insights. Follow us on Twitter at NCCI and subscribe to Channel NCCI on YouTube. Stay tuned for 2020 as we cover the issues at the top of the workers' comp agenda from the source you trust.